Welcome back to Crypto Conversation. Good morning, everyone. And today we have in the news, which is a lot of discussion around security token. Now, one of the person called Kyle Samani has said almost half of the top 10 cryptocurrencies on the coin market are nothing but the security token. Now, if that's really the case, I am really fearful of what's going to happen to the coin market if that is what is declared. So what is a security token? Just to give you a small brief, a security token is basically where a group of people or maybe a company has a larger benefits out of the funds which has been laid. Okay, so there are a couple of, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the Ripple India. So Ripple is expecting India to take a U-turn on the cryptocurrency ban with the regulations. So there you go. Ripple is extremely positive for India. And we're also going to talk about the CBOE group. CBOE group might list Ethereum futures trading now, since Ethereum has been declared by SEC that it's not a security token. So let's start with this news first. Welcome back. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And also, this is not a financial or investment advice, just my personal opinion. Let's go ahead and find out. So what it says is half of the top 10 cryptocurrencies may be security token. And now this is very significant. And the reason, so how do you identify what is a security token and what is not security token? For example, Bitcoin cannot be a security token because the benefits does not go to one company or one person. Not one person gets benefit with the development of Bitcoin. Is that right? Would you agree? Yes, certainly, because it's decentralized in nature. And the same is with Ethereum. Not a group of people is getting benefit. It's a decentralized network, everybody needs to work on. But there are some tokens wherein the larger chunk of the tokens are held by the company owner or the CEO, and their development also is centralized. So that's not a decentralized in nature, and that is what the security, because the larger chunk of the benefit goes to one group of people. And also, as an investor, people invest into it depending, looking at a certain group of people. So I think the beautiful example that Kyle Samani actually gave here of a security token is here. And of course, this is a very confusion topic here into cryptocurrency space as to what to call a security token and what not to call a security token. Sometimes I feel, why is there a need actually to call something a security token? Let the market decide on its own, right? But yeah, this is the regulator's term. So he says that if the network on which the token or the coin is to function sufficiently decentralized, where purchasers would no longer reasonably expect a person or a group to carry out essential managerial and entrepreneurial efforts, these assets may not represent as investment contracts. So clearly, right? Now, he also said that Ripple is actually a cryptocurrency. Ripple is a security token, because over here, the company Ripple, and Ripple, by the way, Ripple, they themselves claim that we are a company. So here, we are not talking about a decentralized network, but we are talking about a company. So he says that Ripple, only one implementation and only use case is there to facilitate transactions that are driven from Ripple's banking software. Ripple Inc. owns a vast majority of the tokens and likes to sell them on the open market. Bingo. Ripple is almost certainly a security token. Now, not only Ripple, he actually mentioned that as it stands now, so I'm not talking against Ripple. If you're a Ripple holder, that people might feel that I always have these negative thoughts about Ripple, but this is something coming out from them. And not only Ripple, he also said the Tron, Stellar, Cardano's, ADEs, and IOTA are most certainly security token, while EOS may be security, but could quickly become a utility of the community pursues certain measures. And that's one of the reasons Block.one did not launch the mainnet themselves. They gave it to the block producers to decide, and they actually worked on a voting mechanism, right? So that's one of the reasons why EOS. So this is a huge topic for the fact that if SEC decides, the coin market really could be in trouble. Now, again, I have this opinion that SEC only belongs to USA. They do not belong to the whole world. Now, one of the discussion that yesterday these guys have is, we are not just talking about the USA today. The rest of the world, there are so many other countries like South Korea, Japan, Australia. They do not have, we might not agree with SEC decision that these are security, and they are more than happy to actually work on these projects, And so in that way, it will not have a large impact. So This is what I believe, that even if SEC decides to declare these coins as a security token, these coins will still sustain, they will still survive, because the rest of the world is very big. Nobody is completely dependent on USA today, right? I think every country can decide it from themselves. So that's what my opinion is. But let me know, what would you like to add onto this, and what's your thought about these security tokens and about these statements. And of course, I would recommend you to go ahead and watch this discussion. If you can, it is 6 hours of discussion on talking all about security tokens. The next one I want to cover is SEC statement that clears the stumbling blocks for Ethereum futures. So a lot of CBOE group and CME group were not listing Ethereum as a futures trading because there was no clarity, because SEC was considering that Ethereum is a security token, right? And then Vitalik would have been faced some questions there. So now SEC has cleared now, so CBOEs will be trading Ethereum futures very soon. So here is what CBOE says: we are pleased with the SEC decision to provide clarity with respect to current Ether transactions. This announcement clears a key stumbling block for Ether futures, the case for which we have been considering since we launched the first Bitcoin futures in December 2017, and ever since the Bitcoin price has been being manipulated big time. So I think the Ethereum price manipulation is also coming, but at the same time, it's quite kind of it provides kind of legitimacy to all these cryptocurrencies. Imagine before there was a futures trading, nobody really took Bitcoin very seriously, but today people do take, because now you have these futures trading happening on these traditional exchanges. So that's the good news. Let's move on to this news here. So CFTC has there was recently fraud. Can you imagine the name of these scamster that they put for their coin? It's called My Big Coin. So they released about 6 millions of fraud. As you can see here, the CFTC claims that My Big Coin, based in Nevada, misappropriated 6 millions from 28 clients by selecting the name that sounds similar to Bitcoin, and also claiming the cryptocurrency was backed by gold. As you can see, these scams are not just happening in India. We had one recently in India, which is Money Trade. Now you also have My Bitcoin. So yes, people all across the world are getting being victim to this cryptocurrency scam. Of course, one of the biggest one being the BitConnect. So yeah, the 26 millions of fraud has been luckily caught, and the CFTC is working on it. The next one is Ripple is expecting India to take a U-turn or overturn ban on regulations. So there you go, Ripple doing some positive things here. He says Ripple, which is notably is a presence in Indian city of Mumbai, which I did not know that they are in Mumbai. Good to see that. Ripple is extremely positive. One of the things that they really actually mentioned, that Ripple's global head of infrastructure innovation, Dilip Rao, said that unlike Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, XRP, the digital currency created by Ripple, is designed to enable remittance of fiat currency and not to replace it. And this is what the difference they don't see here, and they still try to compare. Yesterday we were checking on the live that how they were checking the TPS, the transactions per second, with Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you know that you have a different use case than Bitcoin and Ethereum, why do you want to put that comparison chart? So that's quite annoying, And just to let you know, Ripple has started up with private lenders like Yes Bank, Axis Bank, IndusInd for using the blockchain-based platform for payment without the use of the cryptocurrency asset. Axis Bank and Yes Bank are already using the Ripple technology. So there you go, and Ripple being extremely positive that India will take a U-turn on their ban. RBI will take a U-turn, so that's a good news. The next one is that Bitcoin transaction help police track down dark web drug dealer. Now this is something that most people don't understand actually, that most of the regulators also think that Bitcoin is a tool for criminal activities, which actually is not. As you can see, the drug dealer got caught. So what happens is the Bitcoin transactions, Bitcoin ledgers are transferred and are public ledgers. So all the transactions can be traced. So if anyone is thinking of doing criminal activities using Bitcoin, then he is going to be caught, And that is something that we have seen in the past also, like Silk Road incident and many more. So Bitcoin is contrary more transparent compared to if this same crime was done with the fiat money, of course people will not know. But because you can do that with the cash, right? People will not know. With the fiat money can be used for these kind of crime, and Bitcoin can't be. And that is what most of the regulators need to understand. There is this company called Argo Blockchain. They want to be the Netflix for cryptocurrency mining. Can you believe that? Now, I'm not really sure as to how this is going to be turned out, whether this is going to be a legit one, but I believe that you cannot mine cryptocurrencies on mobile phones. So here is what they say. It will offer an easy to use service for mainstream consumer. The startup guarantees users won't need a technical knowledge nor any additional hardware, as the mining service will be available for both computers and smartphones. So as you can see, they want to be in the Netflix of cryptocurrency mining. That means they want you to enable to mine any cryptocurrency right from their phone. And so these kind of promises sometimes are just too much, and it makes sense not to believe into these top companies quickly, and do your research. And by the way, they are doing some IPO, so they are not doing ICO, they are doing IPO. So they are raising about $20 million from the IPO. So that's quite interesting. Now, the managing director or someone who is working with the circle, Rachel Mayer, has been sharing some ideas on how to trade cryptocurrencies and some rules for cryptocurrency investment. So one of the things that she mentioned is a lot of people actually do technical analysis of cryptocurrencies, but the cryptocurrencies are actually based on the news and the tweets. So a lot of tweet-based triggers are there that actually triggers the market. So what I found really interesting is that these traditional companies like Circle and others, are really appearing on this mainstream media and talking about cryptocurrencies and giving their ideas and suggestions. So that's quite interesting for sure. So that's all I have for you right now. Thank you so much for watching. Do leave your opinion of what do you think. This guy is saying that almost half of the cryptocurrencies of the coin market are security tokens, and how do you see the coin market will be impacted if that's declared? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.